Yes.
Recording right now, guys. But if we say anything that is too controversial or something that FBI, CIA, KGB, Mossad, and other agencies go after us, we'll just turn it off or not post it, as we did last time. So
Okie doke.
I see Jonathan is getting his it's like a spaceship. You're like an astronaut in a spaceship, getting all your controls and plugs to make sure 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch.
Do you want to see
Wow.
spaceships don't look like this?
That's the table of the busy man. Look how many computers you got. You're surrounded by computers.
Some what?
You're
Computers.
surrounded by the computers.
I still didn't understand you.
I said you're
wants to know how
surrounded.
many
You're
computers you
surrounded by
have.
the computers.
Just one person to talk, please.
Go ahead, Howard.
He wants to know how many computers you have.
Oh, I've only got two, but I've got two screens with a KVM switch, so I just have to use one mouse and keyboard for both monitors.
Okay.
But I'm not good at paperwork.
So what do you want to talk about today, guys? It's open. Last time we talked about the destinies of American jewelry. Hi, Ruben.
Hi.
And we left it at
Hey,
that.
Don. Hi, Howard.
Oh, hi, Ruven.
Shalom.
But our topic is open. Whatever you guys want to talk to, we're not democracy. We're anarchy. We're a bunch of anarchists, so we can talk about whichever one we like. No criticism.
I knew that long ago. So interesting hearing about the. You guys in the States wouldn't have heard this, but there was a boating accident in northern Italy, and an Israeli was killed. And it turns out that it was a clandestine meeting of intelligence operatives from Israel and Italy. And so the Italian security system had to go around whipping people out of emergency rooms so that their identities wouldn't be discovered. Because they're part of this Italian spy network.
How did the accident happen?
I don't know. It happened this morning.
Jeez.
I hadn't heard about that yet.
Why would intelligence guy meet on a boat somewhere? Why don't they have enough land?
Maybe hoping there's less chance of getting bugged.
Maybe interference by the waves.
Maybe Biden planned the meeting.
If it was Americans, yeah, but there was no ice cream found at the site.
Well, that rules him out.
It's impossible to understand when two people speak at once.
I'm quiet.
Excuse me. Lev, quiet. There would be an explosion in Beersheba.
That's unusual, isn't it? Yeah. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn.
I just got a phone call from the Beersheba police just now, 5 minutes ago. My son's car was blocking something, and they phoned me trying to get a hold of him. And I mean, the car's registered in his name. He pays for the insurance. I've got no idea on earth how Beersheba police would phone me to get my son to move his car. It turned out he was blocking somebody who was handicapped, who was parked illegally in an illegal parking zone.
Well, first of all, it's nice to know that your son behaves as a true Israeli. He parks whatever he feels like.
No, he parked in a place that was actually legal to park in, but he was blocking an illegal parking lot where a handicapped person was parked. So the handicapped guy phoned somebody who phoned somebody who phoned somebody who knows somebody in the police, and they phoned me. The police never turned up to the place, to the site. Just
Are you
anyhow.
are you telling us that if an Israeli drives on Kvish 6 on Route 6 and he decides just to stop in the middle of it and just stop the car in the middle, he would consider that's not illegal? He would consider that's normal. Yeah, who says you can stop in the middle of the highway? That's perfectly legal.
Lev, do you ever hear anything about your car, or is it just gone?
Oh, you guys, you want to tell you? You know, Jonathan, Harvard, did you hear that news?
Nope.
No,
Well, I'm so
I
embarrassed.
did not.
I tell you this, and my wife already told you. I tell you my wife said, and then I'll tell you the story. My wife said, you got to go to the doctor and get the brain scanned. I'm very worried for you. And what happened is this. I mean, I come up in the
What kind of
morning.
car? What kind of car is it?
It's see, let me see if I can remember what kind of it's a Fiesta.
Fiesta. Okay.
Okay.
You
Ford.
know,
Ford.
it's
American.
actually, well, actually, it's a Skoda Fabia. You know, I call it Fiesta because this is, okay. Anyway, let me tell you, it's Skoda Fabia. I come up in the morning, and there's no my car parked. So I said, "Oh, I stole my car. There's no car because there's still cars in Beersheba all the time." So I say, "Honey, they stole a car." So she comes down and stole a car. Wow, I don't know. So I go to the police, field report, go to insurance, all that did it. And the next day we have to go to Kibbutz Lavi, which is north near Afula, for the 4 days Shavuot, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday coming back home. So I'm going to go rent the car. And of course, the insurance company gives you the car for 30 days free. It's only 1 day left. Tomorrow we're leaving. So I got it all arranged. I got all the reports done. And I go to my insurance agent. He's actually a nice guy. He's left. Don't worry about it. You have insurance. You get not a full price, but you get most of this. But I kind of like my car. I like my car. I say, well, they stole my car. The Bedouins, Arabs stole my car. I mean, they steal cars all the time. I was driving there and I'm thinking, okay, which car do we buy? And my wife says, I don't want to have a car anymore. We don't need a car. Just take a bus or walk anywhere. We need train, buses, forget it. So we're coming to a point we'll never have a car again. And I'm thinking then, and of course, every day it changes. Next day I say, honey, I really still should have a car at least for another couple of years. Maybe you use one. So the fall, we come back from the trip. That's on Sunday. And I'm going to my auto mechanic and he sells car too. So he said, this is 20,000 shekels car. Mine was like 110. So I take it for a ride. And of course, the car shakes like, 20,000 shekels car is not 100,000. It's a $5,000 car, right? So the wheels like they're ready to fall off. I said, well, if they fall off, I leave it in the curb and buy another one for $5,000.
Are there holes in the floor so you can push with your feet if it's?
Oh, something like this. But as I'm thinking all these days, I'm thinking, maybe I parked it somewhere. Maybe I parked it, just don't remember. And then I'm thinking, I say, honey, how did I go on Monday, the day before, the Monday night, the car was stolen? And then my wife says, I think I heard noises. I looked at noises, an Arab guy was parked across, the lights on, and they 12 seconds, they take your car quickly. You can protect it. I heard noises. So the car is stolen. I'm thinking, how did I went to the synagogue. I usually walk to the synagogue, but I'm thinking, anyway, now I get you all the suspense and tell you like a punchline. I drove the car to the synagogue. It's about like 2 minutes drive or 15 minutes walk. So I happened to drive that time. I went to Moledet. Ruben, I went to Moledet synagogue, not to keep, not to Renat Yerushalayim when I usually go. I go to Moledet. So I parked the car and on the way back, I talked to the guy, Bruce Francis. So I talked to him, and as we're walking back, engaged in conversation, we're already by our houses, and he lives right across the street from me. Okay, so I come home, and then of course the next morning I come in, there's no car, right? As I'm thinking, I think to myself, how did I walked home, but how did they get to the synagogue? Now I'm beginning to remember that the timing for the mincha was short, like 10 minutes. I wouldn't be able to walk there. I must have driven. So I said to my wife, honey, I'm going to go drive. Now I have a rental car now. I'm going to go drive to the synagogue and see if the car there. She says, are you crazy? So I'm driving in, and as I'm driving in, I think I'll find it. I'm pulling parking lot, and there it is. So I'm
I
calling
don't
my
understand.
wife.
You went there Friday night, so you had to
I-
walk home?
No, I went. No, I walked because I happened to talk to Bruce Francis after the mincha. After Arvit actually. After
Oh,
Arvit,
so you walked away from the car to chit chat.
yeah, we just talking in the synagogue, and he said, "Listen, let's just keep talking and walking home." So we're talking, walking home, and then, so as I calling my wife said, "Great, you have to make an appointment with doctor tomorrow and check yourself."
Well, if they do an MRI of your brain, they might find hemorrhoids.
When I was left, I was so embarrassed. Of course, I went to the police immediately, and I'm coming to insurance. I tell my insurance agent, Michael, he's a nice guy. I said, Michael, I'm so embarrassed. He says, don't worry. And the police, I tell police, listen, I'm the only stupid guy. He says, we have this situation every day. It was a hot day. You got a little bit heated. Don't worry about it. And the insurance guys tell me, we have one guy that once a week he loses his car. He comes to us once a week, files the report, the car is stolen. And then 2 days later, and we don't immediately react because we know. And then he finds it's like 2-3 days later, comes back to us, and he said every day, like he said for the last 2 years, like every
Yeah,
week,
probably having Alzheimer's.
probably, yeah. But I'm thinking, but what's interesting when you lose something like that, even not a car, even something small, and then you find it, boy, makes you feel good because
That is that I so
Or stupid.
I do feel
if
stupid doing.
if you guys allow me to tell you a story, or we had a very, very wonderful Sephardic rabbi when we were in Vancouver, and one Shabbat afternoon, he's giving his mincha class, and one of the congregants walks into the shul, and he's beaming from ear to ear. He just can't stop this massive smile, sits down quietly, mincha, soda shlishit, ma'ariv. They walk out of the shul afterwards, after Havdalah, and the rabbi says, I can't stand it. What are you so happy about? And the guy says, I'm a millionaire. I just won $5 million on the lotto.
Oh,
On the way to shul, I walked past the window of the of the store where they sell the lotto tickets, and my number is the winning number. So my rabbi says, "Wow, it must be great to feel like a millionaire." And they walk back to the store, and the guy says, "See?" And they look, and the rabbi checks his ticket, and he says, "But you're missing one number." The guy says, "What?" He looks again, and he's doesn't have the winning number.
oh my gosh.
And he's so dejected. My rabbi looks at him and smiles, just says, "Wow, how lucky you are." And the guy looks at him, "Are you crazy? It's like I just lost
I just
$5 million."
lost money.
The rabbi says, "No, no, no. You know what it feels like to be a millionaire."
That's
Yeah.
well, you probably heard the one about two guys meeting in the street, and one says, "No, how you been?" And the other guy says, "I'm working on my second million." And the first guy says, "I didn't know you made the first million." And the second guy says, "I gave up on that one a long time ago." So I'm working on my second million too.
Well,
Well,
don't feel bad.
I
Don't feel
feel
bad.
if
I
you
did the same thing you did.
did you also?
Yeah, with the car.
Are you kidding? Also, like parked it, I thought it was
Well, this
stolen.
morning, I was going to put on two gloves to go biking, and one I put down, and I couldn't find the other one. I had one in my hand. I'm looking, looking, looking. After 5 minutes, I'm getting really frustrated. It's on my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I
I'm
feel
learning
better.
more and more. Like, just it's not worth getting worked up when you lose something, especially with my age.
It's
Just
so nice to have a group of supporting friends that tell us about these stupid things they've done, because it makes you feel so much better than not
Oh, it's
doing
just it's not no. It's nice to have friends to tell you how stupid you are.
that too. That too.
That's
By
nice
the
to
way,
know.
by the way,
friends who can laugh with you, not at you.
but you know, it's so true,
I
because
don't know what that feels like.
no, I tell you, it's good to have friends who they'll tell you. Like, I have a good friend, my friend from college, and he doesn't. You know, when you have such a good friend, there's no politeness between us. Like,
You don't need
we'll talk about Torah, and he says, "What do you think about this passage?" And I'll tell him. He says, "Lev, knock it off. That's not a good explanation. If you don't know, ask Rabbi and come back to me when you know." And there's no offense. I don't feel humiliated, nothing, because this is the good friend will not just yes man you. Tell you, I don't have time to waste half an hour. Maybe how can I tell you so you don't get offended? And yeah, just tell me that how stupid is okay. But it takes time to develop that relationship. You can tell a person that. Well, I'll tell you something else, guys. Okay, listen, want to do this? Let me take a couple of minutes. I came to conclusion how wrong I recently was. So let me tell you the story, and you probably agree with me. In one community, I'm not going to get the names, not to make a lashon hara. There was a lady who was, I think I mentioned you briefly this, but I don't think you know the end. That was very, very ill. She has scoliosis, very severe scoliosis. She is very poor, and she has no relatives whatsoever. She lived in a town, and my wife was friendly with her, and she would come very often, and she really felt for her, and she helped her a lot. After we made Aliyah, she kept calling her from Israel as much as she could. Now, I approached synagogue, and I said, "You got to help this lady, guys." And
Who
they
told us about this?
huh?
Lev?
Yeah.
Is this the one you were giving everybody in the shul a hard time about? They
Oh,
really should
but I
take
don't know
care
if
of
you
her.
ever heard it. You know Ruben, but Jonathan and Harvard,
Yeah.
did you know about
Oh,
it?
I know.
Okay.
I know the story. He told this
Ah,
story.
but in the end of the day, when I recorded the video, like a flaming 3 minute video, pointing the finger, and I said, uh, damn your inaction, damn your indifference, because the lady died. And she died, I mean, alone, essentially. I didn't say, and I quoted Jacob, who says, "I'd not damn you." I said, "Damn your inaction. Your actions said damn." And then anyway, I got excommunicated. Rabbi took me out from distribution list. He will send me Gemaras before. Now, for last 3 days, I don't get any Gemara. He didn't call me, didn't say, he just took me out. And I was like, "Listen, what is it? At least you should call me and tell me if I'm out of line. At least call me. Listen, you're out of line. That's not right behavior. And I'm going to take you out because that behavior is not acceptable." I was very fuming about the community indifference. And then I thought more about it. I thought that ultimately I was very wrong because there was a better way to accomplish this. So instead of being Isaiah and Jeremiah pointing the finger and how indifferent, how cold-hearted you guys are, even though it's true, I should not intimidate people and embarrass them, even though it's embarrassing for them not to do. I should find another way. Like, for example, say, "Listen, I know this lady, she's lonely, she needs this. What can we do for her? Maybe can somebody else,
Did you spend time taking care of her?
did I?
Yeah.
Well, when we were in Atlanta, my wife took good care of her. She always come to her on Friday night before Shabbat. She would come to her, bring her soup, bring her this. She did a lot but she
The
needed
thing to
somebody.
do is talk to the rabbi and ask him to talk to the people he knows who might be able to help her. But just going out and cussing people out, and you're sitting on the other side of the world, and you aren't even, you didn't have
No, but
anything to do with it.
I knew this woman because that expression of indifference to her was going on for years. It's not only I started being aggravated about it in Israel. I didn't like it as much. I mean, it really hurt me because because one time she had to go to the hospital. She had to get a taxi, and then when she discharged from a hospital from a hip operation, she had to get a taxi to get home. How did she get from a parking lot in the home to the house? It was really not a good situation taking care of her. It's not just I didn't know how they behave. From here, how can I judgmental? But all I'm saying
You
is,
actually sent this video or message after she died?
Yeah. After she died, and I
Okay,
said,
well, let me tell you a story.
go ahead.
Rabbi
No,
Manuel Shochet.
before she died, I warned them before she died. For years, I was telling her, you're indifferent. And the Chesed committee told me, she's 10 minutes outside of our coverage circle. We can't see her because she's 10 minutes away from where we reach out to help people. We can't help her
They
because,
didn't listen to you. They didn't listen to you before. Why do you think they're going to listen if you keep hammering on it?
well, I mean, I was disappointed how indifferent, how callous they were.
No,
She
you
had
have to
no
think here.
friends, no help.
Let me tell you a story. Well, first, there's a Hasidic saying that before you reprove your fellow, you should trim your fingernails, which means don't dig in, but think of the kind or gentle way to say it. Then the other story is I want to tell you is Rabbi Emanuel Shochet, who I knew, had some interaction with, a very brilliant philosophy professor and Hasidic expert.
Is he from Chicago?
Oh, he was in Toronto. He
Okay.
passed away about 3 years ago, but
So I
he
know
was
Chaim Shochet, who's a mathematician,
he
mathematics
visited
professor.
Chicago, and I had some interaction with him. But anyway, he once went to the Rebbe to tell him about a book he wrote about Hasidic history, and he put some stuff about the Vilna Gaon and the negativity he showed towards Hasidim. And the Rebbe, I guess he looked through the book and he told him he should take that part out because it won't do him any good anymore. Won't do who any good? It won't do the Vilna Gaon any good. It's I mean, here's a guy who's been dead for what, 100, 200 years. And just because Rabbi Shochet was writing something negative about him, the Rebbe asked him to take it out. So that should be a lesson for us.
Mhm. I wonder also in a tangent to that, I wonder what happens if a group, I mean, did it ever happen to you guys? Do you feel like that let's say there's a group of people and you're part of this group. The group is doing something wrong and you try to change it, let's say even on a nice way, and you cannot change it. And you're facing with a choice. This is not a group of criminals. It's just a group of people who are not very who are kind of callous people, not very friendly and good to others. They're not criminals. They kind of go to work and all that. You have a choice: either continue being part of this group, but you have to be nice to them and not criticize them, or say, I can't be part of this group, and and then on their own. So when you have to make a choices to be on your own, because then the group will say, listen, if you keep criticizing all the time, just get lost. So you can, but let's say group is really guilty. The group really is not behaving right. How do you make the choice? You want to be part of the group. You don't want to be alone. And yet, I mean, even in the simplified phase, I know people who work at the company that feel the ethical behavior of the company is not right, but they don't have another choice. They need a job, so they work there knowingly. I hate to be here. This company is so unethical, but I can't quit because it will go bankrupt. I don't have any money. How do we make these choices to stay part of the group that is screwed up, or leave and be lonely?
Well, it's these are hard choices, but you have to check your own conscience. And the fact is, if you find people doing things unacceptably, do everything you can. Then you can say Tehillim for them or pray, ask Hashem to help them. And if you can't stand being there, I remember a wise man once said that it was like a rabbi and one of his disciples said, and he's the guys at the kollel making him crazy. Doesn't can't get along with them. He says, so just don't talk to them and just if they're a little nasty, just ignore it. And the guy says, what if I can't manage that? And he says, just get away from them and keep your mouth shut. So
But if they're doing not nice things, let's say the example, the lady,
maybe it's not your
don't help.
business. Maybe it's not your business. If you can't approach them in a way that they can listen to it, it says that there's a principle in the Torah. If somebody's not going to listen to you, that you shouldn't get involved with them.
Well, Reuven,
It's not your business to start up.
well, let me give you another example. In another synagogue in Atlanta, I know the couple, and they're now he is not in 95, and he is in a home for with dementia. His wife is just a few years younger, and she's still okay, and she lives not too far. She comes to see him almost every day. They're lovebirds. They love each other. He was very active in the synagogue. He was a gabbai. He did this. They're very active. After he wasn't feeling good for the last 2 years, they never visited him. And I called Rabbi and that Rabbi and says, listen, to secretary, and I listen, visit this guy. He lives within like 5 minutes drive. I mean, and his wife.
This is why you're still in the States.
Yeah, well, we're still in the States.
Well, you could go visit him.
No. When we were in the States, he was not. He was still home, and we visited
After you moved.
After we left, he eventually ended up home, and I talked to her, and my wife is very friendly with her, and she said, you know what, Helene, she doesn't want to. I gave up on organized religion. I gave it up on it. This place that my husband was integral part of. He loved it, and they just walked away from him. They completely abandoned him. I want to do nothing. I don't want. And she said kindly, she says, I don't want anything to do with her, and I'm very hurt hearing that. So I wanted to call them and say what's going on. They never returned my calls. And I did send a message also saying like this, I'm very, not bad message like in my other case, but it says, Rabbi, I'm very disappointed that nobody for the last 2-3 years haven't even visited him. Why not? No response. Well, how do you act in this situation? We're not supposed to judge people, but
you have to let it go. You have to let it go and stop thinking about it and stop aggravating yourself about it.
But I know
they're not aggravating you anymore. You're aggravating yourself.
But these people are in pain. These people are emotionally hurt.
You can't fix the world. There's people in China in labor camps right now. There's people in there are Muslims in Tibet that the Chinese authorities are raping these women purposely. What are you going to do about that?
Jonathan, Howard, what do you guys think?
I agree. The community that hires a rabbi who is willing to watch this happen is a community that deserves what it gets. If the leaders of the community are not willing to see what's happening, and this is years, then you have nobody to talk to. There's nobody home.
Yeah.
It's Howard, what do you think?
I agree. I mean, you probably know Bob's story about his granddaughter.
What's that?
Oh, she passed away?
He lost a granddaughter
Yeah.
a little over a year ago who was
I
he
know
was
that.
down at his son's residence, and they had a pool, and the baby got into the pool. It was supposed to be locked, but it wasn't, and she fell in the pool and drowned. There was an outpouring from the congregation that was unbelievable. The rabbis flew down to be with him. They couldn't have been nicer to him. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, if that's what it takes to be a mensch, they were mensches. And there was a lot of outpouring from people in the congregation too. And that's the way it should be.
You know, Howard, I know this case too, and it's admirable, but I think, tell me you guys if I'm wrong, to express a one-time, very important emotional support, like in this case, it's easy.
But it's not just one time, it's ongoing.
Yeah, no, but to do it, what I'm saying, to express one time, somebody, God forbid, dies, to go express, it's very nice and wonderful. But that's one thing. But there's another situation that requires not one-day trip, but a continuous effort to maintain something for years, like raise money for this lady that she's not alone. That is not just one day go and open your heart, say, I'm sorry, and it's different. You know what I mean? It's to fly somewhere, it's admirable, wonderful, but it's only one day. You get on a plane, you go there, you express condolences, you come back. Nice, but it's not doing a lot of effort. It doesn't take away from you a lot of effort to really do something that that lady needed.
No, I agree.
And that's what's missing. I see a lot of things that people come in and somebody has a baby from the hospital. They come in, bring the soup like this and do the prayers, and somebody got food, dies, and say prayer. That's wonderful, but it requires almost no effort. It's good, but it's effortless, almost effortless.
Right.
I'm talking about
That's
something that
a,
requires effort.
in this
You know what you should
particular,
do, Lev, when you really feel like there's people not taking care of people? Rather than criticize them, you should find somebody in your own zone of influence that you can help and go out and help them.
Well, but in this case, we did. Helene was helping her. I helped her also a little bit. But once we moved to Israel,
Well,
my wife spoke to
so
her almost every day.
find somebody new in Beersheba that you can help, if you really feel like the world's
I know. I mean,
unfair.
but it's not a matter of me. It's not of me not be able to express my.
Question is, did you think these messages are going to affect anybody? Are they going to help anybody? Are
Well,
they going to produce an effect?
you know what I was thinking, Ruben? I was thinking when I said that. Now I'm thinking I was out of line, and I was probably using negativity instead of positively. I didn't handle it right ultimately. My intentions were good, but method wasn't good, I think. But what I thought they would do is ask repentance to God and to themselves. Look at it and say, you know, guys, just honestly, the rabbi should stand up in front of the congregation and say, we screwed up. It's just like, when the messenger when somebody gets killed on a road, the nearest town comes in, sectors the cow and say, we didn't see it.
You're trying to take over the role of the Sanhedrin and the rabbi. You're not the rabbi.
No, but entire community should
It's not your place.
express guilt.
You're out of line.
But entire community should say, we're sorry, we missed it. Okay, at least it should be some lesson not to do it in the future. And not to ignore it, not to kill the master.
If they're not going to listen to you, then you have no business talking to them.
But it bothers me that they're so heartless.
Well, but that's not your business.
Well, I feel pain for the community that's heartless.
Well, then you have to set it aside. Use that pain to help somebody that you can actually help. There's nothing.
Jonathan, what do you think?
Going around and accusing people of being sinners, that's a thankless job.
Yeah, and people got crucified for it.
I don't worry about myself.
Lev, I agree with what's being said. You're a very caring person, but and that's why it hurts. But my goodness, I think each one of us has examples of that in our own lives, where no matter how much we would like to change things, they're not going to change. You end up with a brand on your forehead which says that you're a complainer.
Troublemaker.
Not a troublemaker. You're not making trouble, but you're complaining, and you're not part of the congregation anymore. You're way out of the way. You have no influence on them, and I think that the response that you got of having the plug pulled was a totally appropriate response from the congregation, who doesn't want to hear about it. They didn't want to hear about it then. They don't want to hear about it now.
You have to ask if your actions is for their benefit or your benefit. Maybe it's mainly for your benefit. You just want to feel like you've given them what for, and you're going to be righteous, and you're going to tell everybody to do.
I thought about it.
And the irritation in your brain is now better because you went and let them have it.
I thought about, Ruben, is that just about me? And I came to it's not. I don't care. I don't care about my things. It bothers me. Well, first of all, I feel bad for the lady. And secondly, I feel sorrow, sadness for community that it's heartless. It's not at all about me. Whatever they do to me, it's irrelevant. I'm not complaining they took me out from the distribution. That doesn't bother me at all. It bothers me that the Jews, the 200 families, could not find in them the ways to help a human being that was alone at home without anybody to bring her a glass of water. Because it was 10 minutes away from Hesed Community Circle. Because I sent an email before, it says, how you help her? And they responded like maybe 2 years ago. Well, she's 10 minutes away, and that's not part of our coverage. And I thought they will say now for their sake. At least now they say, we are sorry. Okay, we missed it. We should have helped. I'm sorry. Lev, you're out of line criticizing us. That's true. But we also agree that message is not you. The message is we screwed up. We missed. It will be a lesson for us not to do it in the future. Think about it as a human being when somebody suffered next to you. And from then on, I said, okay, guys, good, but I'm sorry I was out of line. I was maybe criticizing you. I live here, you live there. But it makes me feel better that you understand that you are callous. And now that message at least will be a critical point for you for in the future to do better, to get your synergy of humanity back to normalcy in some way.
I'm sorry. I think that a community in back where you used to live, I don't think that you've got any sway there. I think that it's you're barking up a tree that's very high.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Ruben. Okay. Ruben is still there? Yeah. All right, guys, we have 1 minute. Let's do this. For next Tuesday, any particular topic you like to talk, just think about it. And or we can just anytime we can just wink it like we're doing today. That's fine too.
Okay. I don't have any major topics. My head is too full of getting to Italy for my symposium.
Oh, you're going to Italy when?
The 13th.
Just don't go on a boat.
Don't go on a boat. That's right.
Don't go.
I arrive in Venice. Don't ask.
Oh, have a good successful trip and have a great week, guys. And we'll see each other next Tuesday.
Howard, good to see you again.
Good to see you. All right, Ruben, good to see you.
Good to be back.
Happy driving, Lev. Happy car.
Man, thank you, guys.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Bob. He knew.
Tell him I said hello.
Will
Hello.
do.